Hi, I'm Brent. Today we're going to talk about the Mitsubishi Lancer SST dual clutch 6-speed transmission, which you can see on my left, which is the transmission that is commonly available in the EVO 10 and the Mitsubishi Lancer Ralliart. And the Ralliart you can only buy it with SST transmission here in Australia. In the EVO 10 you can get it with a manual transmission as well. And what we're going to talk about is review what we've been discussed over many years with some of the common problems with this transmission. And I normally don't work on our workshop floor, but here it's a lot easier to lay everything out instead of just on a bench. And with a white background, I can clearly show you a lot of the components that are dismantled on the car or the transmission, be able to show you some of the things that you should be aware of if you own one of these cars or you're looking at buying one. So first of all, the transmission is normally got this case on top of it, which you can see over to my right. So this is the inside and that's the outside there that you can see on the outside, and internally you can see the gear set, the differential, the ring gear, the internal filter, which you can see on my other videos where it's very, very difficult to get to without cleaning it externally, because it's not an external filter, it's an internal filter with a magnet. You can watch the video about that. But most importantly, I want to talk to you about today is the magnets that are only accessible when you pull this housing off. And you can see here the magnets here that are used for the proximity sensors, so the electronic transmission knows when the gear is in the right location. So these little magnets here, as you can see, attract a lot of ferrous particles that wear off over time on the gears and the bearings, and eventually they dull the signal back to the ECU, so sometimes it has trouble knowing what gear it's in. But more importantly, what can happen, and in the case of this one, is you can see where the actual magnet in the plastic housing has actually come away from the shift fork. Now this part is normally on there with some glue, but what can happen is it can get loose or can actually fall off inside your transmission. It then throws a fault code and it won't change gears properly. And what needs to be done is the transmission needs to be completely dismantled. These parts need to be removed carefully, re-glued back in place. Now I will advise you, they have to be very, very accurately put in place, because many years ago when we first diagnosed this, we didn't get it wrong once. Got to pull the whole transmission apart, put it back together, because it was not accurate to within less than 1 millimeter. So we have a jig that we put these shift forks on to correctly locate them while the glue is drying. And you need a glue that will work within an environment of hot temperature, due to, and actually there's one of our jigs there, my cameraman is just showing it to me, locates the magnet in the right place. But yeah, the glue has to withstand both the temperature and oil condition, but also has to be able to stick to this rather unusual plastic. So let's just talk about some of the other parts in the transmission. This is the external plastic pan that sits on the front of the transmission that can be accessible from within the car, and you can remove that to access the mechatronic unit. We'll talk about that in another video. And this is the clutch packs and the baskets that all work together. And inside here is the clutch mechanism itself, which actually drives the transmission so you can change gears. Now, one of the things that you'll see is the gear set here, and the bearings, and the final assembly, the cover assembly, which is what you see when you pull the gearbox out. And in behind all of this is all the clutch pack and all the rest of the oil when it's under pressure before it's connected to the side of the transmission. Now, one thing I do want to talk about, and I haven't spoken about this before, and a lot of people don't know it, is you may take your car to the drag, EVO 10, you do one pass, and you get a time, and then you go and do another pass, and all of a sudden it's quicker, but you don't know why. Well, one thing you need to remember is these clutches are designed to slip to heat up the transmission oil to get it to its operating condition. So if you're sitting at the drag strip waiting for your turn for 15 minutes, half an hour, and the engine's idling, the engine will be nice and warm, transmission won't be, because it hasn't generated any friction in the clutch packs to warm it up. You go and do your drag run, the clutches slip the hell out, heat the transmission up, but you get a really bad quarter mile time. You come back, engine is then in a transmission is its correct operating temperature. The transmission control ECU goes, oh, I don't need to make the transmission any hotter now, I'm going to lock the clutch packs up harder. You get a better quarter mile time. There is a really, really good replacement assembly for this plastic pan, which has got a transmission heater in it, which works with your engine cooling system, which of course got hot water running through it, which can preheat your transmission, significantly reduce your wear and tear on your clutch packs, and give you more consistent acceleration times, whether you're at the track or at the drag strip or just having fun on the street in a controlled environment. So there you have it. If you're looking for understanding a bit more about your transmission in your EVO or your Mitsubishi Lancer, check out some of our other videos so you can understand what just goes into these transmissions to make them looked after. They are a really good transmission if they're looked after and modified correctly, but if they're not, they're a nightmare. So follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter and Instagram. Check out our new website where you can put in your year, make and model and get a whole list of parts available for your car no matter where you are in the world. But for now, my name is Brett Middleton. Thanks for watching.